Welcome to Six Figs. I'm Kyle, and in today's video, we're going to be talking about everything internet computer, from the ecosystem news to the charts. And in this video, we'll cover ICP, Bob, EXE, Kong, ICS, Sonic, and IC Lighthouse, baby. Now hit me up on X at Real Six Figs. This is where I get down and dirty in the cryptoverse. There is a gentleman out there called Nabil who does help me with my thumbnails. Now, I never thought that I'd have to get a thumbnail artist. My schedule has just become so crazy that I've asked him to help me out over the last month. So if you're a content creator, or maybe you want to get a new banner on your X account or YouTube channel, give this guy a buzz on Telegram. Now, Definity has dropped an absolute banger of a tweet. Over 4 terabytes of data have been added to ICP in 2024. Now, what does this mean? It means that ICP is super efficient. And if you tried to store this much data on Ethereum for an entire year, it would cost you tens, if not hundreds of millions of dollars to do so. When we start looking at this data, I couldn't help but to think about other different types of data. Canisters, transactions, cycle burn rates. We're seeing all these other metrics ramp up and continue to trend upwards over the last year and of all time. So when it comes down to it, I think that these metrics are about to explode. And I think this will be a huge thing going into 2025, especially when Caffeine AI gets released, presumably on January 1st, which basically turns everyone into a developer. This is going to get really insane on the internet computer. Now, FOMO is partnering with ICP Swap, and they are going to be going SNS soon. Now, I think that we need all the DEXs. We need all of these token launchers to be successful in the IC as a whole, not just one over the other. We need ICP to succeed as a whole. We need options for when the masses arrive, right? They'll decide what projects they want to use. But for now, give FOMO a follow over at FOMO.com, and you guys can see how easy it is to basically make a meme coin. Although I'd recommend you basically check to make sure that you're allowed to within your jurisdiction. ICTO. This is another token launcher. Folks, this is something that's super easy to use. But I really wanted to focus on Kuoka, which has 2 days left to participate in the Ferris launch, they're calling it. Hank, one of the most reputable people in the ICP ecosystem that I've met, and I've met him in person over in Switzerland. This is the guy you want behind a project like this. I don't want to say I know for a fact he's not going to rug, but I know for a fact he's not going to rug. The crypto markets, folks, are a mixed bag. ICP down 1% on the day, down 10% on the month. When we look at IC Lighthouse, which is a DEX built on the internet computer, folks, this thing, of course, my charts are going wild, is forming what could possibly be a cup and handle. Now, we've seen prices come down to about this 9.5 cent range, and I'm hoping that we can get a bounce right at the 786 to come back up to about the 15.5 cent level to form a very nice cup and handle, or quite possibly an ascending triangle to see price move up. From all-time lows, IC Lighthouse is up 117%. Now, Sonic Swap is another DEX on the internet computer. This thing pumped hard, and there's been a sell-off, but it has found a nice trading range in between about 4 cents and about 11.5 cents, somewhere in that neighborhood. I'm hoping that we see something very similar from Sonic that we're hoping to see for IC Lighthouse. From all-time lows, it looks like this thing's up 40% at this time of this video. Now, Sonic Swap, ICS, folks, this thing has been selling off. We have seen a symmetrical triangle squeeze. From all-time lows, it's up 55%. But what makes me bullish about this pattern is that it's squeezing. We're seeing the highs get lower, and we're seeing the lows get higher. So you can kind of see how this price is just swinging and squeezing. So I'm hoping that by February, we will see this thing make a move either up or down. Kong Swap, folks, has had an incredible launch. This thing is up 480% from all-time lows, and this thing is kind of forming a very nice ascending triangle, kind of like what I was telling you guys about IC Lighthouse and Sonic. Now, Kong Swap is the fastest swap on ICP. I am an advisor for Kong Swap, meaning I help out with development. I help out with marketing. I help out with strategy, building, things like that, behind the scenes. A lot of stuff that you don't see. Trust me, there are some cool features coming for Kong Swap in the future. EXE, I mean, this thing's been squeezing rather nicely, and it's up 50,000% from all-time lows, I guess, if you want to call it. But this thing's formed a very nice, very nice bull pennant, and you couldn't ask for a sweeter setup, in my opinion. I do think that EXE is definitely one of the more solid blue chip projects out there in the ecosystem, mainly because you have Shill Gates behind it. He's also the guy behind Kong Swap, or he's helped out with a lot of the development of Kong Swap. So I'm bullish on EXE. I'm bullish on Shill and Bob. Guys, this thing's up 3,900% from the all-time lows when it launched. But this thing is really kind of formed a very nice bull pennant, and I thought for sure we would see a little bit of price action pump, but the market's dumped. And so what's happening now is we're seeing the price kind of move closer towards this 50 moving average. So I think instead of that bull pennant, we might end up with what's called a bull flag, maybe rubbing into the shoulder of this Ichimoku cloud. So I am bullish on Bob. I think that there could be a chance that we see this thing maybe scoot down to $1, somewhere in that neighborhood, but it's still bullish in my opinion, as long as we get the bounce off this 50-day moving average. And all these charts are the daily, by the way. Now, ICP, folks, is forming some incredible patterns, and I do think that we are about to see ICP go absolutely crazy. Right now, we could be seeing what is a very nice cup and handle form, and I'm hoping that going into the new year, especially with this caffeine AI, which is going to draw a lot of attention to the IC, we might see something like this. Now, I do think that we are going to see ICP basically rip, possibly up to about $150, somewhere in that neck of the woods at the high end. I do think that it'll go even higher after that, but maybe $115 on the low end. It's not going to happen overnight, but this is just as a result of this pattern that we are seeing. When we go ahead and measure this cup and handle, this larger cup and handle that we're seeing from this all-time low up to the brim, or the edge or the rim of the cup, we can see that this trend line, when stacked on this lower trend line here of a different cup and handle, could yield about $118. If we stack it on top of the larger cup and handle, we're looking at about $159. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this video on the ICP ecosystem. And I just want to reiterate, we need all these projects to succeed. We need the masses to discover them all. So it's very complex. I understand that, but it's necessary. So I love you all, and we'll see you guys on the next video.